So I thought I would just do a rundown, I suppose. This is how things are at the moment. It's a little bit messy in here still. I've got a bunch of review gear, sat down there, which you'll see in a minute. So it's a little bit more crowded in here, I think, than it actually would be. But obviously, I'm the one that's getting crowded. You're just watching it, so it's not really that big a deal. So here we go, I suppose. So starting up at the top, first of all, I can't remember what that drum is. I mean, some of these you won't be able to see, and they are obviously in boxes anyway. That's off the Vic Firth stick rack, which I have, which you'll see in a minute. Like you've got the pearl. That's the 14 that matches the kit, and then Star Classic, that'd be the copper, and then the 15 that matches the kit, and then there's a Craviotto there, and it's the Dave Mattox one, and then you got stuff going down. There's like the George Way 14x8 and a couple of other bits and pieces. Now there's some spare cases. That's the only thing about this is like, I take stuff out of cases and then I have just cases lying around. So this is the review stuff. It's mostly sort of DW and Gibraltar. They sent some hardware over to me to have a look at, and then this stack is actually all Tama. Obviously, some of this is self-explanatory. You got the Star Reserve 2, the 15x8, the violet shade that matches the kit. The Cordio, obviously, that's the 14 by 5.5-inch bronze that everyone's like still raving about. 15x8 steel, the Lars Ulrich, and then I've got all like spares and stuff because I haven't been to a rehearsal studio in a long time. Well, not the main one that my band uses, probably a year or so. I just collect heads for them and then I just give them to them. So you got the Noble and Cooley is in fact the Akutin. It's not the Noble and Cooley. Another crab, the Donette over in the corner. It's a Thomas Star Classic Koa. No, it's the Bubinger and the Koa. So there's the stick rack. I got that last year, maybe. I might have been this year. I can't remember. I thought it tidied things up a little bit. So I quite like that. It's nice and neat. That whole shelf is like sticks and derivatives and like rods and things, and there's some brushes in there you can see, and it's just, and then you've got those fun things. One broke, which I think my sister bought me ages ago, and I keep those there as well just for a bit of fun. Probably should give them to my daughter, actually. She should enjoy it. And then you just got like it's my gigging stuff really, or some of the gigging stuff, and spare mixers, and there's the rest of my gigging stuff. So you got the 8 and the 10-inch wood fiberglass toms in there, and then you got my my tool chest that's with all my spares and all that stuff. So snare rack, you can't really see a lot of it. Well, you can see most of it, but then it sort of goes over into that corner, and that's the Donette Cherry over in the case there. But obviously you got to, I've rotor toms coming out my ears. Like it's actually quite annoying. I need to find a place for them really. But there's my Yamahas, and then my SQ1, and there's some other bits in the corner. There's the XPK that matches my kit. To be honest, that snare sounds like crap, but hey, I've got it. It didn't cost me much, and it matches the kit. So those all those Spawn and everything, they've not really moved. And then got the Rockstar and the now stupidly priced DW Copper, the Babylonian. I've got one 400 left now. I sold the other two. I've still got 3 Acrylics though. That's been one. There's 2 more there. There's the Leedy and Ludwig over there, and it's all very nice. And then you've got cymbal cases and things. You've got the Heyman bass drum, and then there's, I don't even know what's in that one. Let's have a look. Oh, it's the violet shade. There you go, the violet shade. And obviously spare heads everywhere, because it's very important to have spare heads. These ones are sort of like slightly used but got life in them. and then and then basically if the rest of them, I mean, stuff that's knackered, I just basically put up on the top and give it to the studio. These are odory shells. Roy, thank you again if you do see this. Roy from Wembley Drum Centre very kindly put these aside for me when they were getting rid of all these seconds. They were just like seconds of for whatever reason they were stripped of the hardware, and I expressed an interest and Roy gave them to me. So thank you again, mate. It's very kind. I haven't got around to doing anything with them yet, but I will do. That's a 20-inch kick drum, and then 10, 12, 14-inch toms there as well. And I do have an odory snare somewhere in the other room, I think. Some kick drum pedals, which 2 of those I've actually done on the channel. Strangely enough, they're all direct drive, and the one I've got on the kit at the moment is also direct drive. No particular reason. I've literally just noticed that, but I've got to take those out and put them in the other in the hardware storage place. Some more review stuff. So that's the VK. That's the cast 14 by 6.5. Well, obviously you can read that. It says it, doesn't it? So Archer. Now that is a cracking snare drum. It really is. Not cheap. But British Drum Company, Archer, yeah, that really is. It's one of my favourites, I think. It's in my top 10 favourite snare drums. And then you've got, I think that one is actually my other British Drum Company. That's the original issue of, I think it's the Merlin. I can't remember. I think it's the Merlin. That's the DW 15 by 5, or 15 by 6, I think it is actually. That is the other VK cast. Stupidly rather having it that high, because that's actually above my eye level, so that's about 6 foot up in the air, which is probably not the best move from my part. DW Purple Heart next to it. This one I think is the Keplinger. That's the Star Joftoba. That is the Bell Bronze Tama. There's a couple of toms in there. Yamaha Birch Custom Absolute. I got some snare drums. This actually used to belong to the band Gomez, which you can, some of you in England might be able to see. You can just about see it says Gomez on it. I bought that from Graham Russell Drums for the princely sum of, I think it was £6. And then I went down to Southampton to pick it up, or rather, we went down to Fareham to pick it up one day, and had a very nice day out in Southampton afterwards. So it was completely worth it. I bought that case on eBay, and I was sitting in Yo Sushi in Watford on a Saturday night, and it was finishing about 8 o'clock. And I thought, you know what, I'll have a laugh. My maximum bid will be a tenner. And as I said, it cost me about £6.50. It was hilarious. And it used to be a conga case, so it's not small either. So the Craviotes, anyway, I'm not going to move all the other stuff, but you've seen photos of those before. But there's Wilbur. Wilbur is 30 years old. I've had him for 30 years. A friend of mine gave him to me for my 18th birthday, and now I'm 48. So there you go. You know what? I'm not even sure what's in this one now. And I don't think I'm going to be finding out anytime soon. There's a bass drum in there, but I can't remember which one it is. So that is the floor tom for the SLP steel kit. And then you've got the rest of my sort of, these are actually this one is the Bubinger stock classic Bubinger floor tom. Obviously that's with fiberglass. That one is my timbali, my pearl timbali. And then you've got a couple of toms in there, and the two regular mounted toms, floor tom and a mounted tom in there for the wood fiberglass. And then you've got 2 bass drums. That'd be, in fact, actually that's the SQ2. That one's the SQ2, and that one's the pearl. And then you've got the light with all my spare cables and stuff. Now, this actually despite the fact this looks like maybe some sort of weird merkin, you'll have to look that one up if you're not familiar with what a merkin is, or a hairpiece or anything. And maybe it's actually a Boris Johnson hairpiece. So all I know is a complete twat to go underneath it, and it'll work. But Boris Johnson is my local MP, and I can't stand the bloke. He's utterly useless. But these are look, bass drum beaters and things. I don't know how I got so many of these things, to be honest. I mean, I know I've got a lot of pedals, but it's like that one's off the Jojo Mayer. That one I can tell you. And then you've got like the Pearl one, which now and then you got the Tama Speed. You know, there's another Tama Speed one there. It's DW one. I can't remember who made that one. Oh, that's a Tama one actually, I think. You know, and there's more around here as well. You know, I don't know. But this is my tool chest anyway. It's all got all my spares in it and everything. So you know, I thought I'd buy that. I bought that last year, I think, and I sort of bought it, and I thought it'd be good to have all my tools in one place. And yeah, it is, but it's also I didn't think it through, and there's not a lot of space, so it kind of doesn't leave a lot of space to get through. Oh, and obviously there's my gong. Yeah, me talking around it, but there you go. There's my gong. It's only a 22, but you know, I always wanted a gong. Forever, I always wanted a gong, so I finally bought one. You know, I bought one last year. Mostly, it's a rather silly ornament, but I do love it. And occasionally, I take it off and I just hit it and feel very happy and very zen. You know, but and then there goes all the brand new heads and things, and I mean, all silliness aside, it is actually quite helpful to have a stock of heads, you know, knocking around. And well, look, Frasier. I'm watching Frasier. I'm working my way through Frasier because it's just fun to have Frasier going in the background. So I'm going to wander through to the next door. And while I'm doing that, I'm just going to grab the light because yeah. So this extra. I got most of my stands are actually out in the other room, but or the other shed. But it is useful to have some stands in here. We're in the back room now, the main room, and this is the room that's kind of changed the most recently. So, which I'll come to in a second. But obviously, you can see here we've got the Star Toms, the Star Classic Birch that's used to belong to Gary Husband. You've got my single solitary Noble and Cooley left. I sold the other one a couple of months ago. Some old metal thing. Crowley Ottos, which I might be getting down in a minute actually. I've got to change the kits over. My two DW cast bronze snares. There's a couple of toms, I think, in those two top cases, but some snare drums. They're all 12s. And the one that you can see is the Donette 12x7 Cocobolo, which I've been playing recently, and it's fantastic. There's a couple of speakers, and then behind that little rack thingy is actually the toms for the Manu Cache bass drum, which is behind me. There's my little rack of sort of recording stuff, and most of it is not plumbed in. I really only use the Focusrite interfaces. The Potter and Davies gig stuff, which is fantastic. I have that in here basically when I'm not gigging, which has been a lot recently, funny enough. These are mostly all pearl snare drums, and you will notice there are 4 brass free floaters there, which I'll do a video on. But I just decided recently I kind of like this one so much, and a lot of people seem to or have connected with that model of drum. So I liked it so much, I decided all in the space of a week I would buy those 3, and that's generally why I've got no money, because I don't make very smart decisions sometimes. If I want something, I just tend to go for it. As I said, not the brightest move, but and there's my Premier Signia. I think that one's a keeper. I had the anniversary drum, which you may or may not have seen, but I sold that a couple of maybe about a month, 6 weeks ago. I sold it. It went to a better home. The Odery Provenance 2 Club Customs. No, they're not for sale. My only 14x6.5 Star Classic, and it has re-rings too. And then you've got the Orchiltree cast, the Sonar cast, and the Q, which is looking very, very, I wouldn't say patinaed, but it's just rusty. And it's, so in the light on that you can see it there, it's actually a bit lighter than it is in person. It looks a little darker, but I love the way that's turning out. And then behind me, little TV monitor here, there's 4 more snare drums that you can sort of see them there. I can't remember what's actually in there, except the one with the purple is the Kumu concrete drum, and I've got a feeling there's a Donette 2N in there as well. Look, some mega cup chime there. So this bit is. This is kind of the part of the room, the half of the room that has changed recently. So you've got like acrylic. Well, I was going to say acrylic corner, but it's not a corner, is it? So they're all my acrylic toms, the RCI and the Pearl, and then the RCI snare drum on the top there. And then you've got the 16-inch acrylic, the 16-inch crystal beat in the case. Obviously you've got the kick drum, the Artstar 2 kick drum, the RCI kick drum, and a kick drum that will be coming out either tonight or tomorrow, which is the 16 by 18 Craviotto, which I'm looking forward to playing again, because it's going to be good fun. Now we move over to the main bit of the studio that's had the most change, and as you can see, that's no longer how it used to be. So for those of you that haven't seen it, I used to have, in fact, actually, as you see this top bit here, that's what used to be up. So that was like 2.5 meter. It was a 2.5 meter sort of faux fake wall there. And I realised, I actually realised after a while, as much as I like the aesthetic of having that sort of wall bit there, and it probably made the room a little bit brighter too. It was an absolute nightmare to try and change out drums and things. I'd have to move the whole wall. I'd have to break the kit down first of all, and even then it wouldn't come off sort of in any sort of easy manner. So I decided I wanted to change it. For the first time ever, I actually planned all of this out a couple of weeks in advance, and then I took 2 days off of work, and I spent a whole 8 hours basically putting this in and building it. And I built the top half outside. Then me and my wife brought it in, lifted it over about 6 foot sort of pile of drums that are in the middle here. Lifted it over, and then I basically attached the legs and the rest of the framework to it, and then it was far side down on the floor, and then I lifted it up, and that took me about 10 minutes because it was by myself, and in no space. It was like, if those legs are like 50 inches, I probably had about 48 inches to work in, so it was really difficult. But the whole thing that I wanted to achieve with this was I originally wanted to try and get 5 bass drums along the bottom, or 5 double, so it would be 10, but I only managed 8. But I kind of liked it. I think I got more over in that corner than I was expecting, so it kind of worked out. And down here as well, as you'll have seen, I've got 4 bass drums here, and then I've got 2 bass drums over there. Yes, because that's an 18. So that's the Manu Cache, and then there's the Rockstar who's just peeking out, just that little bit there. That's the Rockstar bass drum. So, but I'll come all to that in a minute. But I wanted to, with this, the 2 things I really wanted to achieve was, first of all, I wanted easier access. Well, I've definitely got that now. In less time than it used to take me to get that back bit out and moved over. I can now basically get a whole kit out, and have, and be on my way to swapping it over. So I needed better access, which I've got. And then basically the other thing that I really wanted was I wanted to put all this stuff so you could see it, so I could see it, and by virtue of having it out, it makes a slightly more interesting backdrop as well. But I wanted to get all this out and have it look kind of like a drum shop and kind of feel like a drum shop. And I think it's kind of achieved that. It's much more, I've got more space out of this as well, but I think the visual side of things, it's so much more fun to be in here now. And obviously I put some little mood lights down and stuff, all very fancy and all that. And I got spare heads and stuff. There's my Meinl banner, and then there's some more heads, and then there's a china over there, and hoops and things. So the tops of the bass drums kind of double as a bit of storage as well. I built this so it's 50 inches high, so then I'd have no issues with getting that enduro case with something on top of it. So it all kind of worked out. It was 2 days of hard work. It was 16, about 15 and a half, 16 hours I put in to do that. So it was 8 hours on the first day building all the woodwork and stuff, and then you'd think it would actually take no time at all to just throw a load of drums on on a rack or on a framework, but it actually took me all day to get all this sorted out, and because it was a case of moving things around so they all fitted. So, but I'm really happy with the result. But anyway, just to go over the kits, as you can see them. So this, I didn't mean this to happen quite as such, but it's kind of worked out that this is Tama corner, and then that's like Premier corner. So you've got the Artstar 2 there. The slightly off-white one is actually an Artstar ES, which I need to get recovered. But I do now have 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 16 inch toms there. I know it's an Artstar ES, it's not technically quite the same, but who the hell cares. You got the Grand Star at the bottom, and then that's the Rockstar. It's the 10-inch tom from the Rockstar. You got the Violet Shade, 4 toms there, obviously you can see. You've got the rest of the Rockstar drums at the back there. You've got the Green Sparkle maple. So you've got obviously that one, the Violet Shade is a maple, the Green Sparkle is a maple. You may think, why the hell have you got 2 maple kits? Well, they're slightly different sizes. The kick drums are the same, but on the Violet Shade I have 8, 10, 12, 14 inch, and they're all hanging toms with the 22/16 kick drum. And then on the Green Sparkle it's 10, 13, 14, 16. So if anyone knows where I can get a 16-inch Violet Shade, I will have your children. I'd still love a 16 for that kit. But anyway, so you've got those, and then you've got the three Star Classics together. So it's a maple Bubinga maple sandwich there. The Bubinga kit, the kick drum is somewhere. Oh, the kick drum is down there actually, and then the other 2 toms for that kit are in the other room. You got the Club Custom there. You got the Birch Custom Absolute. Little pile of cases where this came from, and it will be going back there fairly soon as well, actually. Because I've got some recording to do, so I'm going to change the drum kits over. Obviously, so it's the Oyster Pink Pearl at the top there, the Janista, which I did have up until a couple of weeks ago. Then I put this up because I hadn't played it in ages. And then kind of, as I said, I'm going to do some recording, so I need to change the bass drum out. This little fella, you may well have seen a video on already. I put one up fairly recently. That is from the Bill Bruford yard sale. It's the 9-inch 602 bell. These are basically all of my XPK drums. So there's 2 16-inch bass drums, and over there I bought, because my 12-inch tom that I originally got 31 years ago was never quite the same finish, and it was slightly lighter than the rest of the kit. And I just happened upon fairly recently, I came across a 12-inch Orphan tom on eBay, and I think I paid about 25 quid for it. So I was like, I'll have that, just the hell of it, so it all matches. So I've actually got, including this little one here, which is technically not an XPK, but included it with it. So now that is 6, 8, 10, 12, 12, 13, 14, 16, 18. The 18 being down there. And then you've got the Heyman tom, you've got my SQ2 toms, you've got more rotor toms, they're kind of out of everywhere. Obviously the green sparkle bass drum, another rotor tom, and this is the Craviotto gong drum, which I also may get out actually. I'm just having to think. I've got a sort of a dance track to record, so that may be a bit of fun getting that out and using it. I'd love to tell you what's in that top case. I mean, they are all kick drums, but I can't actually remember without looking because I've had a little bit of a change around of cases. But the bubinga at the bottom, I think that one's the Craviotto. That one will be the SLP steel. And then you've got the that's the Slingerland bass drum, and then underneath that's the Janista. That is the Star, and the Grand Star is in there. That's amazing that I remembered all that. So that's the bottom one. The Enduro is actually the Grand Star, and then just over here, you know, just more snare drums really. No particular order, but there's just a bunch of snare drums. I've only recently in the last couple of days put those in. It's kind of the most, or put these ones in actually. It's a little bit inconvenient because it kind of squishes the room up a little bit. And finally we have the Sakai trilogy in mod orange, which seems to me to be a fairly rare finish. I only say that because I've seen lots and lots of odd toms for these Sakai trilogies, and I have only seen, it was basically the only time I've seen one, any sort of Orphan drum has been very recently. Was the Drum Centre at Portsmouth had a 10-inch. And I was like, oh, that'd be fantastic. I'd get a 10, have a 10 and a 12. Even though I you know, kind of only really used the 12 in this, it'd be lovely to have a 10. And I thought for the amount of money that it would cost, probably wasn't worth the effort. And that's a Gretsch Brooklyn 14x6 snare drum. I'm going to be doing a video on that fairly soon, actually. I've enjoyed jamming on this kit in the last couple of weeks. I was quite looking forward to doing a video on it, but or some videos on it actually. But I would much prefer to get on and swap the kits out and try and maybe start doing some recording. So, but these cymbals, these two, so these are, you may recognise, these are some Zildjian Avidus. So this is a 21, and that's an 18, and they're not marked as such, but you know, basically the 21. I think these, if you're ever doing like a Beatles tribute band, or you want to do your own sort of Zildjian version of the Steve Jordan-esque type thing, these are fantastic cymbals for that. I got these the very tail end of last year. For the blues band that I was in at the time, which didn't last, but I got them for that project. Although I'd reviewed these, I went up to the UK distributor for Zildjian a few years ago, and I actually reviewed a whole set of these when I was up there, and they've got this whole sort of Ringo sort of vibe and sound to them, and feel actually. In fact, the ride is kind of, it's got the see, there's kind of a focus. There you go. Sort of a smallish barrel tip. So and it's got a ping to it, but it's got that sort of dulled ping to it, and it's very crashable too. I don't want to hit it too hard because I'll blow the mic. But you can really do that sort of whole like Ringo wash thing with it. And then finally you've got the good old Zildjian Platinum 8-inch there, which is a little bit, I mean, they're all A's at the end of the day, but that's kind of a little bit, you know, a little bit of the odd one out, I suppose. And these are what I think must be 13-inch new beats, which I picked up, funny enough, a few years ago with my Grand Star kit. The very nice man just listed them as sort of no-name hi-hats. So the first thing I do when it says it's got no name on it is check for a stamp. And in fact, there is the stamp, which you possibly, I don't know, I mean, it's picking it up, but they're basically, it's a Zildjian. Yeah, they kind of, they sound like a smaller version of my 14-inch new beats. So, you know. Oh, and I forgot to mention actually while I'm here, I'm going to just looking over there at those. Obviously that's the Tempesta in the middle, and that is the Grand Star snare from the 80s, which is the Powerline 106. It's a steel snare drum basically, but it's a Japanese made. Doug Stevens, as he pointed out to me, it is a Japanese made steel shell. So you know, it's you know, it's as good as anything now. Yeah, so the reason I've sat down, and obviously you can just about behind the light there, you can see my Peisty Gold Center illuminated. It is illuminated. Illuminated sign there. I got that a few years ago, and there's a signed drum head down here with a CD on it, and that was signed by Chris Penny of Coheed when he was playing with Coheed in Cambria. I got it off of someone who was getting rid of it. I didn't pay anything for it. I didn't win it or anything either. But it's kind of one of those things. It just makes a nice sort of ornament. But this is kind of the thing that I get to see. Now I'm sat behind the kit now, and hopefully you'll get an idea of sort of why I did what I did with the room, and why I like it so much more now. As I said, it's much more practical, and it's just much nicer to actually be in and sit behind the kit. I may not keep the kit facing this way. I think what I did was by having this, I did it so the top bit was so the top bit was about 29 inches in, but I forgot that with the addition of the legs on the other side, it kind of pushes it out by about another 2 inches. So it's about 32 inches out this way. And I think what I did was I lost a bit of floor space down here. For like the cymbals and stuff, it's a little tight. So it may well be that instead of sitting here and facing out this way towards the doorway, I may just turn it around again. But certainly for doing videos and stuff, I can now have like a room mic maybe just pointing over there. I can have light. I can have better position on the camera. I can have a camera there. I can put a camera up there. I can put a camera there. I can put a camera over my head. You know, so it's opened things up an awful lot more for me in terms of you know, angles and vibe, and just I think it's just all over a nicer space to sort of be in and sit in. And if I can actually see the TV when the light's not there, I can see the TV better, and so you know, I'd be quite happy to come in here and just sit down and watch a DVD, to be honest, and just be surrounded by all the love. But anyway, look, thank you for watching. Hope that was interesting and enjoyable and fun. And if you got any questions, obviously do ask. I will answer. See you soon. Thanks.